residence, which is a 15-bed group home. Services have changed from the time in 1883 when Muscatine County purchased the 160-acre farm where we're located and erected a building which was then known as the county home. And people would come from the community, from the surrounding areas in the county, and live on the poor farm, as it was known, and work and earn their care and keep. And from that time until within the last 15, 20 years, services remain primarily the same, but the changes over the years have been striking.
I understand that both the buildings out there now are almost all occupied, the new group home as well as your current care facilities, the one that had been existing.
Yes, that's true. Our county care facility is a 68-bed facility licensed by the state of Iowa as a residential care facility, and we currently have 64 residents, and that's approximately our average in the past few months. Our 15-bed group home is full. We moved in at the end of March and have been at capacity since then.
I think maybe, Mike, we should talk a little about criteria too, that determines who is admitted to each of the facilities.
At both facilities, the entrance criteria consist of, we serve persons who have a disability of mental illness, mental retardation, or other developmental disability. We serve adults 18 years of age or older, and currently we have individuals as elderly as in their 80s. We serve all ages. We serve persons whose disability is such that they can remain in the community and don't have to be served in a state mental health institute or at the state hospital school at Glenwood. And we do not serve individuals who are actively chemically dependent.
Do people that are accepted for admittance have to be physically capable of taking care of themselves, fully ambulatory? Can they be able to be in wheelchairs? Or
until recently, we could not serve anyone who was non-ambulatory. However, as a result of our building project, we added 8 beds to our ground floor of the care facility, and now we're able to serve persons who have mobility problems. In the past, those individuals were referred to nursing homes or other facilities that could meet their needs, whereas now we can serve them within our facility, which is much more economical and enables them to stay closer to their friends at the care facility and be served by our services.
I think that a question that a lot of people have too is, in in prior years you've often heard the charge, or it's been written, that a lot of counties and municipalities mainly warehouse the mentally retarded. It did not get into the training and that goes into making them more able to cope with everyday life on the outside.
That is very true, and the history of county care facilities across the state was that they were established outside of communities, sometimes several miles outside of communities, and it was felt that individuals living there would be served and protected in these settings. And basically, you're right when you use the term warehouse, because there were places where people were admitted, but it was expected that that would be their last residence. They would remain there for the rest of their lives. And that's in sharp contrast to the services we provide today, because we have individuals that we serve on a short-term basis, some individuals who remain longer, but our goal is to provide opportunities for happiness and satisfaction so that individuals can reach their maximum potential, whether it's in our county care facility, our new group home, or moving into community settings such as apartments or group homes.
I know too that you work with the community workshop in the training of your people to meet, everyday living.
In addition to our own training services, approximately half of our residents receive services at Muscatine Sheltered Workshop, either in the work area or in the work activity center.
Let's talk a little about funding on the new project. Let's get into a little of the history of it. Now, what dictated the need And who was the main emphasis behind the program to develop funds and building of the new group home?
Our present county care facility was constructed in 1968 as an addition onto a building which was constructed in the 1880s. And at that time in 1968, I'm sure it was considered to be a very modern residential facility. However, it had its drawbacks. 6 people were sharing a room which was not large enough. In each resident bedroom, there was only one electrical outlet, strategically located at one end of the room, and there was only one overhead light to serve 6 individuals. Residents were cramped, they were crowded, there was no provision for privacy or for storage of personal belongings. And this overcrowding really led the County Board of Supervisors to examine what our options were in terms of relieving the overcrowding and providing a setting where individuals could learn the skills necessary to move into the community.
Was this financed, the new building financed by county funds? Was there state aid or federal aid available? I know there were some private contributions also.
Our building project was funded primarily with county funds. In addition to the county funds, we did receive grants, one from the Muscatine Health Support Foundation for $20,000, and another one from the Julia Elizabeth Trust for $60,000, $50,000 of which went for construction costs, and $10,000 was designated for activity and other related expenses which would benefit residents. But primarily, yes, county funds were used for the construction.
And at the same time you built the new building, you also did some fairly extensive remodeling at the older building.
The majority of our costs took place in our existing county care facility. One of the things I learned in this building project was that the costs of remodeling are much more expensive than the cost of new construction. And in our care facility, once they started working in one area, some of the workmen would finish there and move on to other areas, so our building really was reconstructed from top to bottom. We added provisions for privacy for residents. We reduced the number of residents per bedroom from 6 to 4, and then divided up the rooms so that everyone would have their own space. We built in storage, we improved the lighting, we painted throughout the building, added a completely new kitchen because the kitchen facilities we had before were outdated and did not meet state requirements that had been rewritten. And we just took an overall look at the facility and went throughout and determined what changes needed to be made to upgrade and improve the quality of the environment for the residents who live there.
I think that's very important because that had been one of the complaints on facilities of this type, this overcrowding. Now, as I understand it, at the care facility, you have what, a maximum of 4 to a room?
Yes, that is correct. We have 4 residents sharing the space that was previously occupied by 6, with privacy provided and storage. One of the things that our facility is known for as being different than other county care facilities is the fact that we're located within the city limits of Muscatine. And this enables our residents to participate and enjoy many of these city services that aren't available in other county care facilities. Our individuals living there use city transportation, for example, and take part in community events and activities which otherwise wouldn't be available for them to use.
At the new facility, at the group residence, you have what, 2 to a room there?
Yes, that's correct. We have 2 individuals sharing a room, and it was interesting when they moved in at the end of March, they really decided themselves who was going to be sharing rooms with each other. And it was a nice arrangement. And the individuals who moved to the group home identified this building as being their home, and they have a lot of pride in it, and they're making a lot of decisions for themselves which they couldn't make before. For example, in the group home, they're learning skills such as budgeting and money management and cooking, cleaning and laundry, and these other skills that we use every day. Well, now in this smaller, more normal group home, they're able to practice those skills, whereas in the larger institution, in the care facility, they're not as easily able to use the things that they know how to do.
Are they able to get into some type of self-governing? Do they have a board of directors or a governing body that kind of helps to settle disputes or controversy among the people?
Well, at the group home, they've used an interesting process. They have weekly meetings of all the residents, and they discuss issues in the facility and discuss problems that they might be having and issues which concern them all. One of the issues in the facility was smoking. And how they resolved that was they met and they discussed it, and they agreed that smoking is an irritant to some people, and so they identified the deck on the exterior of the building as a place where people could go to smoke. And so that has worked quite well, and it's really a form of democracy that they're using in terms of meeting regularly and discussing these issues and then deciding.
Your open house, Mike, is when?
Our open house is scheduled for Sunday, October the 8th, from 1 to 4 in the afternoon, with a dedication program scheduled for 2 p.m. And we're sending out invitations, but we're also inviting the public, and there will be an ad in the local newspaper to allow people to be aware of this and to plan on being with us that day.
Will people be able to see the interior of the entire building, into the rooms and all the facilities?
Yes, throughout this time we're going to be having tours conducted by staff, and also I think also residents of both buildings will be involved in this and showing individuals the facilities that we have now and talking about what they used to have and the improvements that have been made.
This would seem to be a good opportunity because normally you do not allow visitors to go into the rooms, do you, just on sightseeing?
That's true because, we understand that people need privacy. And these rooms are their rooms to be used as they see fit. And only on special occasions, such as an open house or housewarming, would visitors be welcomed in to see these otherwise private areas.
What are we talking about in terms of overall investment in the new facility? Do you know?
For our building project, we have expended a total of $1,604,000, with just over $1 million going into the renovation of the care facility. I should point out that the renovation of the care facility also included adding on 2 additional areas. The first of which is the 8 ground floor beds that I mentioned previously, and also offices for staff. Originally in the building we were crowded into an area that had been the administrator's quarters, the apartment, and we added on offices to allow more areas for teaching of residents and also meeting with residents and discussing program plans and those issues. The other addition to the west of the building is a storage area for food supplies and also separate rooms for housekeeping supplies. And these previously had been located in the basement of our facility, which was very unhandy for staff and for residents to use.
I'd like to get into a little on financing, budget financing, day-to-day operational costs. Who picks up the tab for that?
In the care facility, residents' expenses and their program costs are funded totally by Muscatine County, and that currently is a daily charge of $50 per day. In the new group home, Hauser Street residents, the state and federal government contribute to the funding, and to cover the $40 per day cost, the state is contributing $18 per day, which is an advantage that the county couldn't use before. The state will not allow these funds to be used in facilities larger than 15 beds. And since we have a 15-bed facility, we qualify for this additional funding.
How about your residents out there who are able to contribute, who have a job and don't make a lot of money, but they make some? Now, do they pay any part of their expenses or not?
Residents contribute to the cost of their care through a combination of Social Security funds. Most of our residents receive some type of Social Security, and also through their earnings from jobs at Shoulder Workshop, in the community, working at Snackers, which is the downtown store, or through Clean Sweep and our lawn care service that we provide.
Yeah, I'd like to touch on that. I know both of those operations come to some degree under the sphere of the Muscatine Residential Services, Muscatine County. Snackers provides jobs primarily for people who are living with you.
Yes, Snackers provides jobs downtown for individuals who live at the care facility, at the group home, but also others who live in the community as well. Snackers is operated jointly by Muscatine County Residential Services, and also Muscatine Community Services, which was formerly known as the Relief Office. We operate these programs jointly and employ approximately 15 individuals. In addition to the work available at Snackers, work is also available through Clean Sweep, which is a housekeeping service, and through our lawn care service, which has been busy this summer mowing lawns, and this winter will be shoveling snow.
I've had some questions about your housekeeping service. Now, how do people get in touch with that if they want to avail themselves of that service?
Individuals who are interested in using our housekeeping service should call the county care facility at 263-5585, and we'll put them in touch with someone who can determine what their needs are and when would be a good time to schedule the service to be completed.
But can you give these people an estimate of what the cost would be based on a weekly or a bi-weekly schedule?
Well, the hourly cost of going into someone's home and doing this cleaning is $6 per hour, and that's the same cost for doing the lawn care.
That's for one or more persons?
That's for each individual who works.
Yes. In years gone by, I know that Muscatine County, as well as other counties, had to send a lot of their mental patients to Mount Pleasant and other places, did they not? And wasn't that more costly in those under that kind of a plan?
That's true. Many of our residents living at the care facility and group home now had previously been residents at the State Mental Health Institute of Mount Pleasant or at Glenwood State Hospital School. And I mentioned earlier our per diem costs at both buildings, $50 at the care facility and $40 at the group home. That compares with a state institution cost of in excess of $120 a day. So there's a tremendous financial savings to have individuals living within the county.
At the present time, I understand both buildings are pretty well occupied, almost to capacity. Do you have a waiting list, or are you pretty comfortable with the space you have available now?
We currently don't have a waiting list. We have 4 vacancies. We do have some referrals that are coming to us, and we expect that we'll be a little more full in the days to come.
I know too, Mike, that you have a very strong and active volunteer corps that work with your people. Now, can you bring out some of the services that they perform to help your people?
We utilize a number of volunteers. One of our more interesting and exciting for residents programs is our volunteer sponsor program. We identified approximately 5 years ago a group of residents who didn't have any active family involvement. And to meet the needs of these individuals for companionship and for opportunities to go into the community with a friend, we identified individuals living in the community who could give of themselves and their time to visit the facility, to write letters, to take individuals out for outings, to work with them as similar to a big brother or big sister relationship. And we have currently around 30 sponsors who work with individual residents and meet their needs for friendship and community involvement.
That would seem to be a tremendous way for some people who have free time and a little compassion to put their time into very good work. There are opportunities for more volunteers, I assume?
There are many more opportunities for volunteers. We have organized activities such as bingo, which many church groups sponsor. But getting back to the volunteer sponsor program, one of the comments I hear very often is the sponsors will tell us, I get a lot more out of this than what I put in.
Yeah. I've heard that comment too, and I think that's great. And I'm sure it's true. Now, do you work in conjunction with Voluntary Action Center on this, or is your contact more directly with the people themselves?
It's a combination of direct contacts. Many times we'll have individuals call us and ask, are there ways which I can volunteer? Also, sponsors in our sponsors program will identify individuals they think would be good as volunteers. Voluntary Action Center has been very helpful in contacting us and putting us in touch with individuals, and also providing such services as, it wasn't too long ago we had a pool table donated by someone who went through the Voluntary Action Center, and we were identified as a need which they could meet.
Does your staff then attempt to match people, I mean, the volunteer with the particular resident for best results, or is that a little hard to do?
We typically interview interested volunteers, and then together we make decisions in terms of what individual living at the care facility or group home would best be served by meeting this individual and participating in a, in a relationship with them.
Well, Mike, tell me what you see down the road now. I mean, I think the program you have in place now is certainly doing a great job in doing the ultimate you can with mentally retarded and mentally impaired, and I'm sure this is not the ultimate. To what degree can you go beyond what you're doing now, do you feel?
Well, John, we have a goal for individuals living in both programs of success and personal satisfaction. And in order to meet that goal, there are services which are needed in the community. Muscatine Welfare Association is an organization that I'm involved with, which provides rehabilitated housing for individuals with disabilities. But there is an increased need for housing for individuals in the community who are ready to leave. One of the focuses of the group home program we have is to prepare individuals to live in the community, and therefore we are going to need opportunities, other settings for them to live in once they are ready to make that move.
How many people would you say are living in their own quarters now by themselves? Does that include with their own families? Some of them I know live with their own families, but they're also living out, and those who live out in apartments or in a home, do they have your supervision or somebody from your staff?
We have individuals who have received services in our programs that have moved back with their families. The majority of our individuals have moved into their own apartments, and they do receive support services which are provided by our staff, by the staff at Community Services, and by staff at Great River Mental Health Center.
And there is regular follow-up, I presume, with these people.
Yes, follow-up services are tailored to the individual's needs and are provided as often as necessary.
Tell me about your staff functions out there now at the care facility and at the group home. On your staff, you are equipped to do what for your people? You have nurses, I know, and
the services we provide include nursing services. We're not a nursing home. We can't provide the same type of nursing services provided in a nursing home, but we do have nursing staff who focus on preventive health care services. We also provide counseling services through our social services department, which includes preparing an individual program plan for our residents. We focus in on the strengths and needs of each individual much more than what was done in the past. And as a result of these assessments, we determine what services are needed both in our program and also what services can be obtained from other agencies in the community. We have activity rehab staff who do training in such things as cooking and cleaning and laundry skills. We also have a day treatment program which serves chronically mentally ill adults. And this program focuses in on those individuals who had had a history of repeated hospitalizations at the State Mental Health Institute. And at the inception of this program, we decided we were going to try to break that cycle and try to maintain these individuals in the community or decrease the number of days that they had to be hospitalized. We have many activities, and we touched upon our sponsors program. Our activities program varies from the bingo games that are sponsored at the facility to visiting museums in Chicago and going to the Cubs games occasionally. Residents are very active, and we encourage residents to pursue the leisure activities of their own choice. We have a dietary program which provides necessary diets to our individuals. We provide a lot of dietary needs as ordered by residents' personal physicians.
And your kitchen, what, functions? You have serve 3 meals a day, do you?
Yes, we serve approximately 300 meals total per day. During the time of our construction, we purchased meals from Muscatine General Hospital because we didn't have a kitchen at that time. And residents were very glad once we did get our kitchen back, because this enabled those individuals who had been working in dietary to go back to their work that they had been doing before. I should point out that individuals who work at the care facility are paid for their work, as well as those individuals who work at Snackers are paid minimum wage for their work.
In closing, Mike, I think two things we want to dwell on a little here shortly. And one is the fact that you do have opportunities yet for more volunteers if they're interested in working with your people, right?
We definitely have more opportunities for volunteers, and we'd welcome any context that we could receive, and we'd be glad to invite individuals to tour the care facility and group home and discuss further how they can contribute to our programs.
And a reminder also on the open house October 8th.
Yes, the public is invited to our open house, which is scheduled for Sunday, October the 8th, from 1 to 4 in the afternoon, with a dedication program at 2 p.m.
Sounds good.